Greetings, Daniel here again. Thank you for joining me. This will be my fourth installment of JW False or Failed Prophecies and Cover-Ups. The first three I went through pretty much, before 1914 and then after 1914. And those are really important videos. I think you really should look at those if you haven't seen them, because they work really well for a good foundation for this video. When you talk to a Jehovah's Witness and you ask them, what dates are Jehovah's Witnesses known for, or what dates have Jehovah's Witnesses said, or whatever you want to say, something to that line. Very few Jehovah's Witnesses are going to have any other date than 1914. For myself, before I started waking up, I knew 1914 was the year that Jehovah's Witnesses had said would be the end of the system of things. And then when it didn't come, they realized that Jesus simply came invisibly in 1914, and that's it. That's how it was. And everything happened just like it was supposed to. It's just the fulfillment was slightly different. And then I knew that 1975 was an apostate year that apostates used to say that Jehovah's Witnesses prophesied that things were going to happen. It never happened. But in reality, it never really was like that. They simply said some things about the end of the 6,000 years, and everyone took it like it was something else, okay? So this is what Jehovah's Witnesses are probably going to know. So by bringing out the three first videos I have, it kind of shows there's a bigger story of Jehovah's Witnesses that most Jehovah's Witnesses don't know. So that works really well for a great foundation to show that all of the things that they believe in, it's something that has already been believed and failed and moved on, and believed and failed and moved on, and believed and failed and moved on. It's a constant cycle. But the number one thing, the basis that Jehovah's Witnesses have for a lot of their beliefs is 1914. The faith in the organization comes from the fact they prophesied 1914 was going to happen. And there's other things like their cleanliness towards all false religion and all that kind of stuff, which, anyways. But if you take 1914 away, there's not really anything left to say this organization is the organization of God. So this video is designed to do that. I want to help Jehovah's Witnesses view that, see that not only has Jehovah's Witnesses been full of false prophecies, but the very basis for which they get 1914 is false, and it's all publicity, all propaganda from today and from decades past, changing history so that one believes that 1914 really was the year that Jehovah's Witnesses prophesied would happen. And I think the reason why they can do that is because they changed their name in 1931. They started believing that 1914 was the year that Jesus came invisibly in 1930. So legally and appropriately, they could say that Jehovah's Witnesses as an organization have always taught that 1914 is the year that Jesus would come invisibly. Okay, so I think that's where they get their ability to lie like that, but it is a complete deception because Jehovah's Witnesses come from the Bible students. They are a continuation of that. And to include Russell and Rutherford in their history would mean that they are including that in their history of what they prophesied. So it is complete deception. So, coming back here, how did they get to 1914? I think that's a really important thing. So, first of all, one needs to understand Russell. Russell was not a Jehovah's Witness. Obviously, Russell is somebody who came in an era when everything was exploding, everything was fracturing, people were going in all kinds of different directions, and he was actually a Freemason, okay? So, if you know anything about Freemasons, which I know very little, it's a very secretive community, and you can learn a lot looking on YouTube and different places, but I'm not really sure how much is true and how much is false because it is very secretive. It's definitely something that a Jehovah's Witness would stay far away from. We don't want anything to do with anybody that's false religion, and Freemasonry would be one of those things to stay away from. But Russell comes from that, and you can see this in the original watchtowers. Jehovah's Witnesses know about the crown and cross, right? The crown and cross for Jehovah's Witness is a Jehovah's Witness or a Bible student's emblem, and it comes from Bible students, and it means that if you follow through with that cross, if you really focus on that cross, you'll get the crown. But that's not actually true. The cross and crown come from Freemasons. It's something that Russell took from his previous life and brought it into his Bible Students Association. Now, I know they got rid of that, but the point is that was a basic part of their religion for a good portion of time, till well after Russell's death. So one of those things that Freemasons believe in, and they really go for, is the whole pyramids in Egypt. So there is a great pyramid of Giza in Egypt. Now this pyramid, it was something that Russell really loved. He was totally focused on this pyramid, and he was just so interested in it. And they called it many times in their publications the witness in stone. So pretty much saying that God used this pyramid to teach his followers in our day, if that makes sense. And this goes well back in the 1800s. I believe that the article that I'm going to pop out is actually Studies in the Scriptures, Series 3, Thy Kingdom Come, page 342, which I believe was printed in 1887. But I'm not sure about that one, so the year might be off, but it's definitely in that period. It says, now this is going to be really confusing, so I'll try and explain it in a little bit here, but it says, we find it to be 3,457 inches, symbolizing 3,457 years from the above date, BC 1542. This calculation shows AD 1915 as making the beginning of the period of trouble for 1542 years BC plus 1915 years AD equals 3,416 years. Thus, the pyramid witnesses that the close of 1914 will be the beginning of the time of trouble, such as was not since there was a nation, no, not ever shall be afterward. And again, this is from Study of the Scriptures, Series 3, Thy Kingdom Come, page 342. So what pyramid, well, if you Google this, if you look it up, you'll find this pyramid was very loved by Russell, so much so that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, right next to Russell's grave, constructed a pyramid. It's not his gravestone, but next to that, there's another little structure. It's got written on there, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. It's about a 7-foot structure of this pyramid. Okay, now I'm going to show you a picture. It's pretty hard to see. You can find this on jwfacts.com and in other places as well. But this is a really nice thing. So what you see here is this is the pyramid, and inside the pyramid there are corridors and there's passages. Okay, so this passage all the way through here, they view the length of that, and as you can see right here, I don't know if you can see that, but it says 1914 AD. So, there we go. Sorry about that. So, the passages here are measured inches per year. It's kind of like the Bible says 1 day for 1 year. What Russell says is 1 inch for 1 year. So, it's kind of difficult to think about. So, when I think about that, I think, well, wait, when the Egyptians were building their whatever, and they had they had God's help to build this, to direct it and everything. Where were inches at that time? Like, we know days were in the time of time of the prophets and the time in Bible times, but where were inches? I mean, this is not something that was used. It's not a form of measurement. So I don't see how you would be able to use an inch for a year as a prophetic meaning, but okay. And then secondly, wasn't God showing the failure of Egypt when he pulled his people out and did 10 plagues on them, proving each one of those plagues that one of the gods of Egypt was a failure? Was he not showing himself better than all those gods? Why would he then use the Egyptians to build a pyramid designed to worship the gods to prove times and histories, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's all false religion. It's all idolatry. It's all completely inappropriate for anyone who studies the Bible. But here Russell uses this to get to 1914. His date of 1914 comes from an Egyptian pyramid. And of course, there's other reasonings, and we'll go through that in the next video. Even those reasonings are horribly miscalculated, misjudged, but you got to realize that if you base your calculations of 1914 on a date that comes from a pagan source, you can't then say we were right because God told us that. It's not the case. If you guess, okay, so think this through. 1799, 1843, 1844, 1874, 1878, 1914. Okay, 6 dates that not only Bible students but others had in their mind as the dates that Jesus was going to come invisibly. Okay, so you got 6 dates in a little over 100 years. What are the chances something big is going to happen in one of those dates? Right? Just because you throw and finally something sticks doesn't mean that you prophesied and that came true. This can be seen because you got to look at the whole picture. You got to look at 1799, 1843, 1844, 1874, 1878, 1914, 1915, 1918, 1919, 1925, 1940, or 1935, 1943, 1975, before 2000, and possibly 2024, which is what people are talking about now. I don't know anything about that, but people are talking about there's a possibility that's happening. So, you look at all of these dates, and just because one of those dates stuck, Jehovah's Witnesses go off saying, we prophesied that this was going to happen. In fact, in my last video, 2 videos ago, in 1925, it shows that people were preaching in 1922 that Jehovah's Witnesses, or Bible students at the time, were prophesying before 1914. They were prophesying that a great world war would happen in 1914. That's not true. That never happened. You see, they take something that actually stuck. They throw so many pieces of crap, and finally something sticks on the wall, and now they're going off about how they prophesied this. But when you really look into it, you realize not only are they lying about all the other dates and all the other things, but the very focal point of this religion of 1914 is shown to be from a false god in the beginning. So a belief that they don't even have anymore. They don't believe that the pyramids have any spiritual insight that it can give us. They don't believe that the pyramids are of interest like they were in the day, and they believe that that is a pagan source. But that's where they got their date of 1914. So you can't get the date from Satan and then say God gave it to you. Okay? It just doesn't work like that. And then the lies and cover-ups for everything else, it's amazing that more Jehovah's Witnesses don't know this. And here's the big news. As the internet gets bigger, and as social media becomes bigger, and as YouTube becomes bigger, and as people, Jehovah's Witnesses, get more and more on these sources, you will find that more and more witnesses are leaving. And why? Because they find out that the entire basis for every one of their beliefs is false. So my next video, please subscribe. Yeah, so you get the notice for it. My next video is going to talk about the other source that Jehovah's Witnesses get for 1914, how they got it, and how it is completely wrong from every source. And I really hope you look at it. Again, I don't want you to think my videos are here to bash Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't want that to be the case. My videos are here to help people see truth. whether somebody takes it or not, it's all based on the idea of helping people to understand what truth is. Jehovah's Witnesses go out preaching, they tell people what they believe the truth is, and no one should hate them for doing that. But neither should Jehovah's Witnesses hate us for helping them to see what the truth really is. There's always two sides to everything, and if one person is looking at only one side, there's no way they can possibly see the truth. I have a lawyer friend who likes to say that there's his version, her version, and the truth. So there's always points of view in a matter. And so what we really want to do is we want to look at what the center point is. And you can't do that by reading only JW publications. Not saying you can't read them, take that side of it. But make sure you read the other side as well. Look through history, see what really happened, and then see what's written in here, and see if it's really something that was true. So please join me for my next video. Hopefully I'll have that out tomorrow. Again, you can press the button over here for subscribing, and you can probably check out the other videos over here, and have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you.